What about the Gamecock baseball perspective now? I know anytime a season ends, it's never fun unless you've just won a national championship and you're about to have a parade.
Yeah.
And however many 300 plus schools always have to go through this process. Gamecock baseball specifically not used to doing it without a regional or super regional or Omaha appearance, and that's where those guys are right now.
Yeah, it's I know a bunch of kids. I've texted them after the game. Today's exit meeting day, which in college baseball stinks. It stinks for a lot of reasons. One, it may be the last time you ever get to see a couple guys. Last year we knew come that time Brady Allen, Wes Clark, Brett Carey, guys just keep naming them far. All them guys had told us I want to play pro baseball, and we knew they were going to get drafted. So you knew it was sad, and you're done. You're not going to get to coach them. Then it's sad a lot of times because this is a day where you're telling some kids that I just don't think it's a fit here anymore for you. And those meetings are terrible. And because we've all had that meeting, whether there's been some girl saying it's not you, it's me. Well, it's basically the meeting you're having and now me and you just talked about 7, 8-year-old under baseball. Those guys have been building for this for 15 years of their life or whatever. And all of a sudden, so today is a really hard day. Then it's like any other team. You're turning in stuff. You got to put your pants in this pile and your jersey and that. And it's just a hard day. That day's a lot better, as you said, when it comes maybe after regional. Last year, yeah, it was hard. We're sitting there having meetings while Virginia was playing Old Dominion on our field last year. I wanted to be in a different area to meet, but that's where we were. But I've also had that meeting after going to the national championship game. I never got to win it, but we lose to Texas. We fly home. We got to have exit meetings. So to this day, whenever it comes, it's hard in college baseball. And there's some big decisions to be made, obviously. When you have a losing record, there's a lot of decisions to be made. And I'm talking as a coach. I'm not talking administratively. Do we bring this guy back? Is this a fit? Is it better to move on from this person? So there's a lot of thought goes into the last 24, 48 hours as a college coach.
And not just a rash decision at all. Like from the coaching perspective, these evaluations are basically 365 days a year, right?
It is. Yeah, as we were saying, our players do get downtime. So you kind of try to always end your fall season around October, give them November, December to be in the weight room. January, you're coming back to school. But during that whole time, you're meeting as coaches, trying to evaluate who could be the lineup. Hey, you're talking in January about this day. Hey, if Tim Hill has 12 at-bats at the end of the year, do we really need to have him around? Because right now he's not in the lineup. He's not in our 2 deep, but he's on a 50% scholarship. So all year you're talking about today. In a lot of ways, today, you almost felt when you went home, you had already started next season on your way home today because you had made a lot of the calls. And there'll be some that'll take a few days hey, you don't always tell a guy he's got to make a decision sitting there, but hey, in the next few days, you need to let us know, kind of here's how we feel. And you think about, is this the place for you? Or you're trying to convince people to stay. I mean, there's guys walking in last year. If you look at it, we had a bunch of guys leave. They're now doing well. I mean, and you're trying to say, hey, man, you need to stay here. And so it's some weird dynamics with the transfer portal now thrown in going on. I'm telling you, across the country, as your season ends, those are some of the weirdest meetings, hardest meetings that you ever been a part of.
Any of those stick out to you as you're going through that in your mental Rolodex right now that that would be good to repeat at this point, maybe from a positive standpoint? I'm sure the ultra negative ones might be the one that really stick out in the mind.
Well, it is. And I really, that's a great question. I remember Brett Carey, fall of his freshman year, not knowing, are you going to get to pitch here a lot? And Brett Carey just saying, hey, I'm staying here, and if I'm not good enough in spring, y'all tell me then. And he went on to have a tremendous year and a tremendous career. But I've also seen guys leave big programs and go have success that they years later tell you, I don't think I'd have ever succeeded there. I don't remember the kid's name. I'm at Ole Miss. He was a big time left-handed pitcher. We recruited him from a small town in Arkansas, and he just struggled when we put him in games. And it was, we're sitting there with him, and we'd actually called his dad into the meeting because we knew it was best for him to move on. And the dad says to Coach Bianco, he pitches great every time you're not around. And Coach Bianco just had one of those great lines, you know. He said, well, Mr. Whatever, I'm going to be at every game. I mean, how is this going to work? And we all then just started laughing because we realized how crazy it was. But it was, the kid had grown up his whole life wanting to be there so bad that when he got there, it had overwhelmed him. That kid transferred to like Arkansas State and made it to AAA baseball, pitched for like 8 years of pro ball. And I ran into him somewhere recruiting, and he said, Coach, I got to be honest. I'd have never succeeded at Ole Miss. I don't know why, what I'd done to myself mentally. So those stories are great too, because as hard as it is to tell a guy, hey, it's not a fit, or to see, I'm proud of those guys that went on and have had success at other places, but it's been cool. We don't have to do it today, but one day I got to give you the Gavin Floyd story. Do you remember Gavin Floyd?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I said,
ended up the Phillies. Is that right? The Phillies ended up grabbing him?
Yeah. Well, he was the weirdest meeting I've ever been in because he got drafted. His brother Tim was playing here. I think it was Tim. And he had gotten drafted. And they were coming to school. And Coach Tanner, I still pick on him about it. This kid would have been on our 2002 team as a pitcher. He had been offered $4-point-something million and was coming to school the next day. And Coach Tanner talked him into signing. He said, I just think it's going to be too much pressure on you the rest of your career for what you're going to go through to always know you turned down $4-point-whatever million. And his dad was an orthodontist, and his dad spoke up and said, you know, we planned for this. And Coach Tanner interrupted him and said, you know, Dr. Floyd, unless you're the world's most successful orthodontist, I don't think you've ever made $4-point-whatever million in one signing. And I sat in the back of that meeting, Tim, going, you're convincing this guy to sign. This was back in the school if you went to school for one day, you were done. Remember? So this was an August meeting, and they went back to the table with their agent, ended up getting $4.3 or $8 million. And Gavin pitched in the big leagues. And Gavin's another kid you run into later at a game, and he hugs you and goes, thank y'all. Because if I'd have came there and had an injury, which he later did, and I can't imagine the rest of my life having not have turned that down. And I always told Coach Tanner, I said, it's amazing. You just talked that a first-round guy into signing. Now, baseball karma had it. We went to Omaha the next year, you know, which I always felt was a big part, that we weren't trying to trick people or keep people and
one of the reasons you did that, because you had a first-rounder in Drew Meyer who did the opposite, right?
Did the opposite. You know, Tommy Lasorda was mad at for years because, you know, and Lon Joyce, longtime scout of the Dodgers, Drew was his only first-rounder to never sign. And he would tell me that every time he saw me. You know, Drew Meyer, he's the only, almost got me fired. So you go different. Drew Meyer will tell you, and I know he's a good friend of yours, he needed to come to school. And thank God he did, because he changed our whole program and allowed us all to have success. But he needed school. Where Gavin Floyd was a pitcher, needed to get on into pro baseball. He did, and had a tremendous career from then on.
Hey, good stuff. Getting us out on the Gavin Floyd story. Well done, man. I know this time of year, like you mentioned, it's all over the place. I definitely want to hear some more exit interview stories. Maybe you can dig some up in the old mental Rolodex.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be our traditional exit from the show. You can give us an exit interview story.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. That'd be nice. I'll try to think up some of them.
Nice. We'll call them exit interviews with volunteer coach Spider Guy.
Yeah, we got that covered. You got all the hashtags.
Beautiful. Stuart Lake, man, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Great hat.
Thank you. I look forward to the next time.
Fantastic stuff with Stuart there. There's that exit interview stuff. I've never even thought about it from the coaching perspective, really, because I was that player. He almost did it verbatim. Tim Hill, you had 12 at-bats this year. You're not going to help us win games here. You need to think about going somewhere else. That was mine. That was my one college baseball exit interview. And I didn't even see it coming as a true freshman, 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid back in the day. Had no idea it was coming. And then boom, my life completely changed just with that one, I don't know, 10-minute interview back when I was a freshman at Centenary College. And that was the end of my baseball career, man.